I think one of the most easily forgotten aspects of early Dragon Ball, and especially early Dragon Ball Z, is how much of an anomaly Goku is in nearly every aspect of his being. The insane power of the later parts of the series, like Dragon Ball GT or Dragon Ball Super, sometimes overshadow how much of an absolute monster Goku is within the actual lore of Dragon Ball, before the hierarchy of power was expanded upon. So today, in this video, I'd like to cover the lore-accurate power of Goku from early Dragon Ball Z, and how in less than a year he went from essentially a nobody in the universe to becoming not only the strongest warrior in the entire universe, but the greatest. If you like this kind of stuff, make sure to like and subscribe, and let's jump right in. At the start of Dragon Ball Z, Goku has already become the strongest person the planet Earth has ever seen, even with doing very minimal training and essentially stagnating between his victory against Piccolo Jr. and the arrival of Raditz. Goku's power level was 416, and with a Kamehameha could go up to 924. Before this point, the biggest threats to the planet, which had brought the entire world to its knees, only had a power level of 260. Even the Earth's greatest martial arts masters, who had trained their entire lifetime, like Grandpa Gohan and Master Roshi, had long since been surpassed by Goku in both pure power but also overall skill. After defeating King Piccolo and winning the Tenkaichi Budokai, Goku was quite literally the strongest under the heavens, and he wasn't even 25 yet. In short, the only thing that could now rival him came from the heavens themselves, aka outer space. With the arrival of Raditz, an entire dimension of potential opened up to Goku in more ways than one. Firstly, as his power grew, Goku was slowly becoming more in touch with his Saiyan side, something that led him to enjoy battle over all else and even take incredible risks if it meant a more enjoyable fight. Raditz allowed Goku to learn about his heritage, something he would take advantage of in ways no one else of his kind ever had. Secondly, and more importantly, Raditz showed that there were far more powerful beings out there in the universe, and that in short, Goku was absolute garbage when it came to power. Raditz, with a power level of 1500, represented the first time any power level had gone into the quadruple digits and exceeded Goku's base strength by over 3 times, allowing him to casually walk through all but the strongest moves Goku and Piccolo could use, the same attacks that could blow up the moon. All of this, and yet Raditz, just like Goku, was the lowest class warrior in the Saiyan race, so weak he could barely be a scout in Frieza's army and could literally be grown from the ground. Thirdly, it revealed that despite the higher standards of power that existed out there in the universe, it had been achieved not through hard work or through skill. The notion of key techniques to raise one's power level was essentially unknown, and training was essentially out of the question. Goku was one of the few select beings from beyond the Earth who learned what it meant to work hard and grow in power. Finally, through his sacrifice to defeat Raditz, Goku gained access to the only teacher who could still provide him with anything of value, King Kai, a god quite literally beyond the heavens of Dragon Ball itself. Goku now had 6 months not only to catch up with the strength of his brother, but become strong enough to be the first low-class Saiyan, besides his dad, to rival the elites in Saiyan royalty and strength. And here, once again, Goku is established to be trash, as he can barely walk on a planet with the same gravity as his own homeworld, with Bubbles walking on it with ease. In the next 158 days, Goku trains for what is the equivalent of several thousand years on Earth, which is to say, the single biggest training session of his entire lifetime. It's here where Goku trains his mind, his body, and his skill to become not only the greatest fighter on Earth, but the best in the entire universe. From King Kai's training, he not only multiplies his power level by over 20 times, 400 to over 8,000, but he gains 2 techniques that literally no one else in the universe can use in the Spirit Bomb and the Kaioken technique. Both abilities, once again, are only possible due to Goku's unique existence. As a Saiyan, he is strong enough to master them, but as a human, he's actually skilled enough and willing to use techniques that require help from others or come with a sacrifice. This, though, does not make him a god yet. as he's still not fast enough to arrive in time to save all of his friends, as all the Z fighters besides Gohan and Krillin had fallen to Nappa and the Cybermen. When Goku arrives, even his quiet rage, he is completely incomparable to Nappa, despite his strength being beyond imagination. With a power level of over 8,000, he is twice as powerful as Nappa even without using his techniques, repeatedly embarrassing the man who had been the former second strongest Saiyan alive. Even after Goku goads Nappa into gaining more power, a light flex of Kaioken completely destroys him. In context, having Kaioken makes Goku absolutely terrifying, as pretty much everyone else in the universe has their power level, and that's it. But here we have Goku, who can double, triple, and at this point quadruple his power level. But this ability isn't free. It comes with immense risk and requires perfect ki control, something even the gods couldn't do. Of course, finally, Goku comes head to head with Vegeta, the prince of all Saiyans, and the strongest Saiyan in hundreds of years. This page speaks for itself. Goku, despite his status as the lowest born, had trained for the equivalent of thousands of years to even scratch at the power of the elite. Vegeta sees himself as the very limit that hard work can't surpass, the final challenge for Goku's training. As he fights, Goku's Saiyan genetics work overtime, making him enjoy this battle that has his life on the line despite being weaker, even when using Kaioken times 2. However, with Kaioken times 3, that nearly leaves his body broken, he actually surpasses the prince, proving Vegeta wrong outright. In a rage at this, Vegeta decides to destroy everything, including himself, by blowing up the planet. Pushing himself even further, Goku uses Kaioken times 4 and absolutely obliterates Vegeta's ideals and nearly his body. After this point, it's only with the help of his allies, something Vegeta had gotten rid of, is Goku able to win. In the end, Goku defeats Vegeta a final time by sparing his life and promising to surpass him. Thus, the Saiyan saga ends with the former ideals of the elite completely shattered by Goku, almost literally. His capacity for hard work with the help of his friends and family can allow him to overturn societal structure that had lasted since the beginning of his species, because he's simply an anomaly. He shouldn't be this strong. But what happens when it turns out the Saiyans are not the strongest race in the universe? How does Goku go beyond both Saiyans and humanity? Now, Goku notoriously sits out for pretty much half of Namek, as the story focuses on the remaining Z fighters and Vegeta as they search for the Dragon Balls and deal with the ultimate ruler of the universe, Frieza. Now, Frieza at this point is the end-all be-all of the universe. Not only is he the one revealed to essentially set the events of Dragon Ball in motion by destroying planet Vegeta, but he once again represents a hard limit of completely unreachable power, as even his first form is tens of times stronger than the other strongest warriors in the universe. He is invincible, but he is also lazy, much rather having his minions do all the work for him. A new parallel is drawn between them, as while Frieza is so lazy that he doesn't even fly on his own without his chair, Goku begins doing the hardest training session of his lifetime, training in twice as much gravity as he had before, until training in 10 times the gravity for 100 times total, all just to bring a couple of his friends back to life. This training is the first of 3 keys that allows Goku to become the strongest in the universe. When Goku finally arrives on Namek, he comes face to face with the Ginyu Force. Despite being weird and silly, they are the strongest beings throughout the universe, and Frieza has picked them up from various conquests, each one specially gifted even for their kind. Goku as a Saiyan simply not showing fear at the Ginyu Force is enough to cause Vegeta to believe he is the Super Saiyan, a belief he has become and will continue to be obsessed with on Namek. By defeating Recoome in a single blow with a power level of 90,000, Goku has utterly surpassed what it was even possible for a Saiyan to become. How? Well, Goku says it himself. He's a Saiyan raised on Earth. Meanwhile, the Ginyu Force attributes his power to Goku being a mutant, as once again, the idea of working hard is completely alien to them, with Ginyu literally stealing other people's bodies rather than improving the one he has. They learn the truth the hard way when he ultimately takes Goku's body and learns Goku's body without any skill is nearly worthless. With this much power, there's only one thing he can be, they reason. It's the Super Saiyan. Next, after getting beat up with Ginyu in his body, Goku undergoes healing while the rest of the Z fighters take on Frieza. Here we see Vegeta push himself to be stronger, attempting to cheat with his genetics by taking damage and then being healed in an attempt to become the Super Saiyan. While out of desperation, this attempt is just as lazy as anything Frieza has done and shows no actual hard work, and Vegeta gets punished for it, suffering the most humiliating defeat in probably the entirety of Dragon Ball. Goku, on the other hand, did not cheat to get hurt, and bolstered by his training, breaks his limits once again to have a gargantuan 3 million power level. This is the second key to becoming the strongest in the universe, as Goku is still a Saiyan even if he was one that was raised on Earth. At this point, before he fights Frieza, Goku has become the second strongest being in the entire universe. Everything has been leading to this confrontation, and yet it's nowhere near enough to beat Frieza, even as Goku uses the absolutely ridiculous times 10 and times 20 multipliers for Kaioken, an unheard of level of power in a universe that was filled with people who couldn't even fire a Kamehameha. He can barely scratch Frieza at half his power. The fight shows off Goku's unparalleled combat skill and strategy, just simply failing in the face of Frieza's absolute power. Even the teamwork that had defeated Vegeta fails as Frieza walks out of a Super Spirit Bomb more angry than hurt. And it's here where the final key of becoming the strongest in the universe is obtained. Rage, as the actual Super Saiyan is finally born. Goku lays this out incredibly simply. He's the Saiyan, sent from Earth with a pure heart awakened by rage. The rest of the fight against Frieza is a psychological one as much as it is a physical one. Goku is stronger the whole time, a 150 million versus a 120 million power level, but wishes to break the tyrant down until he has no will to fight, teaching him the value of the lives he's taken by understanding he could have lost his own. But Frieza is far too arrogant for that, and so, regrettably, Goku fires back against Frieza's last-ditch attack and flies away, now alone as the strongest in the universe, a low-class warrior who had started from the very bottom. And that's where this video ends for now. Both narratively and strength-wise, Goku's lore after this point becomes very different going into the Android Saga. I would love to continue this series, but only if you guys like this one, so please let me know if you want more of these lore-accurate videos where I mix both narrative analysis with the actual power scaling of the story. This was directly inspired by the YouTuber Six, who made these Naruto lore-accurate videos, so please check them out. Also, thank you to my members who got to see this video early, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. See ya.